Alright, let's get this thing going. What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's stream. Let me know if the music is a little too loud today. Can't tell. But yeah, today's just going to be a chill stream talking again about the tragedy or kind of whatever we want to talk about. Doesn't matter. I'm just sipping coffee and a seltzer water at the same time. That might sound insane, but yeah, feels good. What's up, everybody? How's your Sunday going? Or maybe it's Monday for you, or yesterday. I don't know. Time zones, right? I saw somebody earlier. Oh, yeah, the music is a little bit loud. Okay, let me bring it down. I was going to say, somebody earlier was talking about a Boba Fett show. I haven't really heard about anything legitimate about that, at least from any sources. I always wait till I see Lucasfilm talking about things specifically. So yeah, not sure about a Boba Fett show. I'm not sure if this warrants it yet. Could be interesting. Yover Rods, good question. So we got some questions already. Let me dive into that in 1 second. Fixing the music. There we go. I think that's good. Lazy Sunday, yeah, same here. Except hanging out with kids. Right now they're napping, kind of. My son's talking to himself. We do quiet time now because I'm pretty sure naps are over. So that is the life of Mr. Adat right now. But yeah, the other kid is sleeping, so it's good. So, Yova asks why Mando forgot his jetpack. I didn't even realize or think about that. Good observation. The only thing I can imagine is the only thing he was thinking was protect the child, therefore not thinking maybe as clearly as he could. That's a way I would maybe spin the rationale of that. So, and the other thing too, maybe those things got out of there so quickly that like there was no way that he could just go up and start attacking without like a plan. So that's probably most likely part of it. We're about to see him construct a plan, which could be cool. I mean, we are getting Bill Burr again, so. Jen Blanchard says, Oprah, you get a show? Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what's really cool? They are filming the Cassian show now. Cassian is happening. Like, for a while I was like, maybe it won't. And I'm actually really excited for this show for one reason. So lately I rewatched Rogue One again, and I was like, you know what? I'm really starting to like this movie all of a sudden. And I don't know why. Just maybe because it's Mando season and I'm not like, it's just an easy to digest story. Not sure. So I think now I'm really curious about Cassian's backstory. You know, what he had to do for the rebellion and all the stuff he regrets. And I kind of imagine this is going to be a darker show. And I'm not sure if it'll be like a seasonal thing. I'm kind of hoping like a mini series, so it's just like a tale about Cassian, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Somebody, M. Amin Tahiri asks, did you think we're gonna get or do you think we're gonna get to see any Jedi respond to Grogu at all? Good question. I keep seeing a lot of videos talking about like the 5 Jedi, or maybe it's just the 3 that could possibly come back. My gut instinct is that it's too soon. I think it might be too soon to do like a legitimate Jedi showing up right now, because for me, I think that would clutter up these last few episodes concerning saving the child again and whatever showdown we're seeing at best. If Ahsoka shows back up, I'm all for it. Somebody new? Not necessarily yet. I think it's more of a season 2 a season 3 thing, for Grogu if they start going down that route. But I don't know. And the person I would want to see come to Grogu is actually Cal Kestis, which I said yesterday. That'd be the person I want to see. So Lubba keeps on bringing up something about lighting at 8:30 in the episode. I'll have to check it out. Are they on the planet at that point? Because there are a lot of weird lighting things to me, and oddly, it happened when it was like the actual location. So maybe it was just the juxtaposition of some of these shots were definitely, you know, virtual, and then some of them were definitely on location. So I don't know. It's hard to say what it was in some scenes. But yeah, I like this episode a lot more now. Joel Davis, do you think we could see a Thrawn, like a scene with Thrawn after credits stinger thing? Yeah. You know, that's kind of one thing I think this show should do. Give us a little bit of bait, which is okay. Like, it's like there's a difference between how the MCU does it, where like you kind of get this like lingering vignette of something, and the way like a J.J. Abrams would do it, which would be like, here's the most important, awesome thing about this season, and it happens in the last 15 seconds, and now you have to wait a year, and you know, do the same thing again next season. So yeah, I'd be interested in seeing a Thrawn sting. They brought him up. I feel like that's for a reason. And yeah, I mean, I thought those boots in episode 5 were just throwaway nonsense boots, and I'm the dummy. Boba Fett was actually in The Mandalorian season 2. So, really cool. Now I give a shit. Now I like Boba Fett. I mean, I did not like him, but you know, hopefully you know what I mean. You know, he's just kind of like, he exists in Return of the Jedi. Doesn't do much. He's in Jabba's palace, then he's on the barge, then he gets taken out by a blind Han Solo. So it's kind of funny. It's very The Rise of Skywalker if you think about it sometimes. Maybe that's what JJ was trying to do. Maybe he was like, not to like literally copy the OT, but also to copy the sort of pointlessness of some characters and some things that happen. I don't know. So JW asks, do you think they will rescue Grogu before the finale? I don't think so, and I hope they don't, specifically to keep me like at that level of going, all right, I need to see like what is going to happen with this child, and there's two reasons for that too. One of them happens to do with his use of the Force in the episode itself. Sorry, I'm actually bringing up the, if you hear clicking, I'm bringing up the episode that I screen capped so I could make videos. So yeah, like he was using the Force in it, you know, arguably the dark side. He was Force choking things and two stormtroopers, and that was hilarious. So I kind of just want to see what's going to happen with that, what Moff Gideon might get up to before the whole transfusion blood stuff. I'm really curious about that, so I don't want him to be rescued for my own selfish narrative reasons. And then beyond that, I just like the idea of ending on a dark note. The Empire Strikes Back did it. And they did it in a way where like, yeah, like Luke's with his sister. He doesn't know yet, but yeah, you know, it's like a bittersweet ending, I guess, if you will. I think that's maybe the way I'm thinking. Hey, what's up, Molly Thomas? Welcome to the stream. I saw some other people supportive of Cal Kestis showing up. Yeah, I think he makes sense too, because I think he's like a underdog or like a low-key fan favorite. I mean, I don't know how many people in the chat play games. Does everybody play like PS4? Play Jedi Fallen Order? Raise your hand in digital emojis if you play Jedi Fallen Order, because it's amazing. Elliot White says, do you think Moff Gideon wants the blood testing to give himself force abilities? That was one of my theories about him specifically. I was like, I bet that Moff Gideon either wants to become force sensitives or get force sensitive subordinates. That's kind of what I was thinking. But hard to say. Like, this whole, like, M-count transfusion thing leading to Snoke, I still don't know if I buy it. I still don't think... I don't know if I want it to be consciously directly related. If it's somehow accidentally related or, like, informative of the creation of Snoke, and it gets to the Sith cult how to do such a thing, cool, whatever. But it is a little bit wonky to me. So I think it's more interesting for this guy who kind of dresses like a, you know, no-helmeted Darth Vader and has a lightsaber. I think he just wants his own little, like, Inquisitari. I think that's what he wants. Yeah, Thomas says, I don't think that was Snoke. It definitely wasn't. It was like the volunteer, whatever that means. But it was such like a tiny body, and Snoke is humongous. And the other thing too is I'm pretty sure if I watched I think it was an Eckhart's Ladder video. They talked about the fact that the Snokes in the tank at Palpatine's lab weren't clones, that those were like are those like the Strandcast or like what they pulled that off, I guess, or like made the, like, I don't know, there was something convoluted about it that wasn't like exactly just clones. So but yeah, anyways, Cal Kestis needs to show up. He needs to have his orange lightsaber. BD1 will be there, which will be amazing. Imagine that guy in live action. Like, he's just there chilling, being a legend. I think that'd be great. And I also just like that he's not Luke. He's not like somebody that would overshadow something to such a degree where, you know, the people that we're now sort of focused on get lost. Molly Thomas says, it would be really weird if Grogu was Snoke's clone daddy. That is a very hilarious way to put that. That's hilarious. Dale Erdman says they're probably trying to clone Snoke to make the ultimate Dark Troopers. Interesting. Yeah, I'm really curious. Like, I've never... Besides, like, the super battle droids, I guess, I've never really looked at the droids from the prequel trilogies as all that menacing, to be frank. Like, there's a lot of things about Revenge of the Sith that remind me of just Battlestar Galactica, like, especially that opening battle. And I know, like, I can't remember when the series came out. Did the series come out at the same time as, like, Revenge of the Sith was coming out? I can't tell. It just seemed very, like, Cylon-y to me. And I get it. It was a droid, you know, army. But, yeah, I think that these Dark Troopers are just more interesting and menacing to me. So, this whole thing with the Force and the M-count, there was some speculation that, yeah, maybe they're trying to, like, endow them with the Force, I guess, or, like, make them resistant to it in some way. Like, Islamari them or something, which would be weird. I don't know how one would do that, but... Elliot White, BD1, yeah. I think he's awesome. Foolish Child, hey! Is that to, Is that to, what's it called? What's that guy's name? Is that to be Babu Frick? Like, hey! Babu Frick's the man. Let's have him show up for no reason. If they're doing cameos, why not? He just shows up and he's on Tatooine and he's just at the bar drinking a drink as tall as he is. I think that'd be great. Joel Davis. Oh, what's up, man? I still got to think about when we're going to do that stream. I feel like the most logical Jedi might be Ezra, just by how much Mando's trying or is tying with the Clone Wars. Sorry, I can't read. Apparently I'm senile. And Rebels, yeah, and the spin-off is happening. Yeah, I mean, personally, I might be one of the outliers in the more adult fandom of Star Wars. You know, I'm like 34. I'm old. But I liked Rebels a lot. I think season 1's kind of like, it's not iffy to me. It's just not as exciting. I mean, as a season, but I think the rest of the seasons are actually arguably some of my most favorite Star Warsy things. And season 3 is amazing. So yeah, I'm a huge fan. I really keep want to. I want to start the series again of like reviewing Rebels, but I'm like, I have no idea who would watch that. It still doesn't seem like it's a thing that's like that people are like interested in like recapping, but who knows? We'll see what happens. But yeah, I do like Ezra. Him coming back would be cool. It would be interesting too to like hear the story. Like if Thrawn is coming back and we're gonna see him, seeing Ezra would be interesting because then we could reveal what happened exactly maybe between them. Molly Thomas, take care. Thanks so much for hanging out. Yeah, I think Rebels is some of the best Star Wars, literally. I'm glad you guys like it. You know, once the Bendu got involved, once things got strange, that's what I like. I like when things are like just unexplainable to a certain degree. For instance, the World Between Worlds. Like a lot of people, well, maybe I misunderstand it, but a lot of people look at Rebels and they're like, the World Between Worlds can fix things. But I think of everything as whatever, like, it's funny because I just watched a movie about this, but whatever has happened has happened. So if you went into the World Between Worlds and pulled out Ahsoka as we see, that always happened in the flow of time and with entropy from organized to chaos, and there's one direction of time, like, and all of time exists. We're gonna get like super physics and whatever. Like all of time already exists, so that already happened. So there's like no way to change things, but that place existing at all, knowing that nothing can be changed, whatever happens has already happened regardless of the time. I'm just like, what is this place? And I do hope we explore that more if there is going to be a Rebel season 2. So we need seagulls. I don't know what that means, but yes, maybe we do. Oh, nice. Some people would watch the Rebel stuff. Yeah, I'll think about it. Here, I'm gonna skip this song. How about... There we go. Some weird synthy stuff. Hi, Poe. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, Mortis. The Mortis arc. Everybody here, Clone Wars fans, I feel like, obviously. And the Mortis arc is amazing. Super strange. I kind of wish that there was a Star Wars story that focused on stuff like that specifically the entire time. I don't know if it's possible, and maybe they want to avoid stuff like that, but like, who wouldn't want a story about the Mortis gods, or like some sort of like Silmarillion regarding the Force at this point? Like, I feel like there's so much cool, interesting thoughts about the Ones, the Celestials, the you know, the Jedi Order, like all this stuff that could be easily put into a new canon book that is as informative and like almost like a historical document of all of this information, and talks about like the Ones and the gods, if you will. So Elijah Neal asks, are you looking forward to the Bad Batch? Yes and no, and I'll give you the yes and no why. So yes, because just based off of how Season 7 looked of the Clone Wars, I thought, you know, whatever they make again, if they keep doing this, it's going to look amazing. So I'm going to check it out. And the Bad Batch was fun enough that, yeah, I'm going to watch it. Not sure if I'll review it. Probably will if I get excited from, like, the first episode. My only thing with it is I feel like they're like the Ninja Turtles of Star Wars. So I'm a little worried that it's just going to feel like something I've already seen myself growing up. And if it is that, I feel like I'll get quickly bored by it. But maybe it'll be really its own thing. And if so, awesome. And if it ties somehow into The Mandalorian and we see them saving Grogu or something insane like that, fantastic. Just reading some of the chat here. Oh, Thomas says, Clone Wars made me love the prequels more. I think that happened with a ton of people. You know, if I'm honest, like I said this maybe yesterday in the last stream, I feel like because of Tross, like the sequel trilogy is kind of a mess, but I still like really love it for, like, you know, just for my own reasons. Still love the first two movies a lot. But the prequels, I'm always surprised by how much hate they got, because beyond it just being like a kind of a cosmetic issue where like things just looked bizarre, except for the Phantom Menace. I actually have like no issues with the Phantom Menace. Maybe like one exterior shot of like the temple. But you know, Attack of the Clones looked a little digital to my eyes, and it was. And I also feel like Revenge of the Sith was maybe a hair too short. So I feel like some people just like harped on these really like tiny nitpicks, and they were like, it sucks. And I was like, wow, at least now they're actually like giving it a chance because they didn't like something else. It sucks that that's why, but it's interesting. And now that they have this like whole Clone Wars show that nobody knew about, that blew my mind. Like a lot of adult fans, like even my friend groups was like, what? There's this whole thing about like this 3-year period or like whatever, like that takes place between this time and like Revenge of the Sith. And I'm like, yeah. And they loved it. So like it actually made these people change some of their opinion, not all of it, but it changed their attitude towards some of it now that it was fleshed out. But then again, that's the benefit of a show, right? You get like how many hours? 100 hours of storytelling. Joel Davis says, as someone who grew up with the newer version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I know there can be a lot of interesting stories told. Interesting. I'm so curious as to, you know, now that we're talking about Ninja Turtles, that was the first movie I ever saw as a human being. The first one from 1989 or 1990. My dad took me, and I literally remember going to see that movie and thinking everything in front of me was real. I have giant NECA turtles. They're NEC, I think it's NECA. They're like gigantic statues of those Ninja Turtles. But I'm so curious if they have the same origin story from like the comics and stuff. If you haven't seen that old classic like Jim Henson Ninja Turtles from the 90s, like please watch it. The other two are okay, but that first one is amazing. Very cool movie. I would love to review it, but I feel like I'd get 2 views. People would be like, what is this guy doing reviewing this movie? I wonder if Hippo is asking me this. What about Baby Yoda name? If you're asking if I like it, Grogu's a very Star Warsy name to me, so I do like it. Oh, Brett Burns with an interesting question here. With streaming becoming more popular and future of theaters in question, what do you think? Well, I'm not sure if there's... Oh, is there a first part to your question here? Well, let me just talk about what I think about what's happening. You probably talk about HBO Max with their announcement. I don't think like theaters are gonna go away by any means, but I do think everything but like an IMAX kind of theater will probably bite the dust. We'll see if little mom and pop places can stay. I know that the place where I live is gone. They couldn't keep it open. I think 2 places in Somerville near me might have gone under too because of COVID. So it's hard to say what's going to happen. But I feel like this was also something that was inevitable regardless of, regardless of what was going to happen health-wise and disease-wise. This was the future. Like, people were going to start making high-budget blockbusters for movies, and the future would be like investing in a nice setup at home. And I think they're going to keep theaters for like the event movies, right? Like, maybe they won't make as many blockbusters, but like maybe it'll like raise the desire to now go to the movies, because like those are the big movies now. You know what I mean? And I don't want to like say like a Nolan or something like that, but like he makes movies so infrequently that like it's almost like somebody like that, like those are the things you go to, these like new big event movies. Then everything else that's kind of like anthology based or something that's high quality, I think it's perfect to release in both formats, but maybe mostly on streaming. So I'm all for it, because I don't want to see every movie streaming, especially as a dad. At the theaters, because I'm a dad, so I have to be at home. But I do also want to see some films in the theater. So when Dune comes out, I'm still going to go to whatever theater is around and see that. Even if it's just like me and like 2 other people. I don't care. Oh, the 2003 Ninja Turtles is what you're talking about. Yeah, I watched that too. And then all of a sudden they went to space. I remember that one where, what is it, season 2 or 3? They're like literally in like another dimension or something. I don't know. It just switched gears pretty hard. So the first part of the original question that I answered earlier was, do I prefer theater experience or weekly streaming experience for stuff like Star Wars? Well, I'll put it this way. For The Force Awakens, I no doubt wanted to be in the theaters. For The Last Jedi, for like the big movies, like the saga movies, hell yeah. I think like Solo could have been like released on demand. I still love that movie. And in regards to TV, I love that there's Star Wars TV, to be honest. It's something that I never thought would ever happen. I never thought Star Wars would be a thing again, and I'd be even talking about it. So the fact that there is Star Wars TV that looks this good is crazy, and the fact that I have to wait a week instead of binging it all at once, I think that's important. It makes you think about that, like I like that feeling when I was a kid where once a week is when I get the show. Because you kind of like end up having this cool internal clock of different various things that you look forward to, instead of just you getting all the things at once and then you're like, well, what do I do now? I think weekly format's a good idea. Jason Sandula has been brought up a few times. I don't know too much beyond the fact that he exists. So I guess I could talk about what he looks like. But yeah, maybe that'll come into the fold. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Joseph Mashburn asking, what video games do I play? I play a couple right now. I got that new Tony Hawk re-render through Unreal Engine. I think it's like if you guys grew up with that game, I immediately was like back to being a kid, and I was kicking ass in it. It was awesome. So Tony Hawk right now. I haven't played Squadrons in probably like 2 weeks, just because I've been so busy. Because most of the time when I play a game, it's like at night. I still am playing another campaign of Jedi Fallen Order right now. I'm playing Limbo. Let's see, what else? I like The Last of Us. Red Redemption 2 is still in the queue there. Well, I played some of it, but I kept dying. Just like a bunch of various things. I also recently bought, for a game, I got the Pod Racer game, and boy do I stink. I'm terrible. I am terrible at pod racing. I think the mechanics on this PlayStation, because I was used to the N64 growing up, like that pod racing game. I think it's the same one, but emulating through PlayStation. It's just too fast. It's a little too fast. So, I don't know. Somebody's saying Happy Life Day. Happy Life Day. Try Pathless. Hold on, let me write that down. But I do love that game. Limbo is so interesting. It's like Limbo is just a side scroll, but it's like it's got depth, dimension, and some of the coolest rendering I've ever seen for a game. Super simple. It's like a problem-solving game, but it's creepy. Super creepy. The music is haunting. It kind of makes you feel like gross inside as you play it, but it's great because it's addicting because you can't stop. But it's so disturbing, and I love games like that. They're like problem-solving in like these side-scroll games. There's a lot of cool stuff like that out there. I highly suggest you guys playing Limbo if you haven't ever played it. So let me write that down. Pathless. Oh hey, this is a Hello Greedo song. I didn't know this was in this playlist. Oh, I would love to get a Nintendo Switch. That's so hilarious. I literally just said Hello Greedo. I just can't. Right now I'm saving up for. So I mean, you guys know this. I think the other thing I do in life besides be a dad and do this stuff is I make music. A lot of it. A lot of different kinds, from like orchestral stuff to hip hop to R&B, weird stuff with my buddy, and if we can find singers and just everything. So I'm saving up to get this like nice virtual drum kit that will plug into my computer via MIDI, and then I never have to use my keyboard to type in MIDI drums ever again. I just want to play it because I played drums for 20 years. So, no, 22 years now. Wow, I'm old. So I've been playing drums for 22 years. So I just want to get a kit in my office that is digital so nobody will hear it, and then just play. So I'm saving up for that, and then maybe after that I want to get some VR stuff. I think that's in my future more than anything else. Joel Davis says, when I got into fandom, I found it so strange. People critiquing about the prequels acting. Growing up, I always thought that's just how people talked in the Star Wars universe. Well, yeah, you know what? That's something that's interesting. Because somebody, like a lot of people thought that Newt Gunray or whatever, that he was like a racist portrayal. And while I can maybe if somebody says that and they feel that way, their point of view is valid. I'm not going to tell them like you're wrong for feeling that way. I just don't think that was the intention. And the other irony of it is like an alien can sound however the hell it wants, and if it happens to sound like something that you think it is, it's still an alien. And I don't know. I thought it was fine. I think the biggest issue with the prequels is a cinematography issue. And Brett Burns, I'll answer your other question soon. If you guys want me to answer questions, it's always easier to do the at or whatever, or if you want to do a super chat, sometimes those work too for like going to the top of the pile. But you don't have to. No pressure. None of that is a requirement to be here. So, but yeah, I feel like the biggest egregious error of the prequels isn't the acting, isn't all that stuff. It's just the director of photography, where like they did a lot of digital zooms, and that means that like the camera was just on sticks. It was just locked. They set up whatever green screen thing they were doing, and instead of adding movement with the camera through space, which creates parallax, and that way your eyeballs can like perceive the elusive like the illusion of depth on a 2D TV. You know what I mean? Like that's what they do with the volume. They just did like a push in, like a Ken Burns zoom. So that's the thing that really sticks out to me as like the error of the prequels. That's it. Like aesthetically, they had a bad cinematographer. I think it was bad. That's about it. So Brett Burns, am I a fan of Lord of the Rings? Yes. I am a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. So much so that I own 6 versions of the movies. I have the regular theatrical ones and then the super long ones, which I actually do prefer. Oh, hold on a second. I just got a text about the Mandalorian episode from one of my buddies. Let me read it. Rodriguez does one episode of Mandalorian and makes it look like it was shot on Betacam. That's amazing. He's my production buddy. That's so funny. This dude's such a talented guy. He's the guy that got me into my job, pretty much. The guy just texted me. So thank you, Mr. Guy, that I'm not gonna announce your name on a chat. That's funny. But yeah, I love Lord of the Rings. They're kind of like comfort movies. Like E.T. is a comfort movie too. So is Empire Strikes Back. And in some ways like Solo, I guess. But everybody has those, and for me, like, I can just like toss on. Well, if I have time, I can just like toss on one of those movies and just like feel awesome and just doze. And it's not because I like want to fall asleep because they're boring. They're just a comfort movie, you know. But yeah, I love them, and I also unfortunately don't really like the Hobbit movies. I don't like them. I think they're very well made. They just weren't for me. And I don't think like the story is necessarily bad, but just too drawn out. I mean, I read the book growing up and I was like, it's not this much stuff going on in this book. So I don't know. Jacob Rosner with a good kind of thing here. I really wish that the Mandalorian would focus on Mando and not all these other characters. I'm nervous about the amount of new characters introduced. They can't do them all justice with 30-minute episodes. Yeah, I get the concern. I think in some ways, some of those worries have happened, but not to a degree where I think it's necessarily detrimental yet. And what I mean by that is I am surprised that we haven't dove a little bit further into who is Din Djarin, at least in that route. But in other ways, they are diving into that in terms of like, who is he right now and who is he becoming because of the child? So in some ways we are getting focus, but I get the worry. It's like, you know, with every episode, there's always like a lot of characters in them now, or a big reveal, you know, and I feel like, honestly, since they're already gonna have season 3, like I'm not like too worried about his full story and it being fleshed out. But yeah, I get it. I don't think it's gonna be a huge problem for these last few episodes, though. I mean, we got 2 more episodes. I guarantee one of these episodes is gonna have to be close to 50 minutes again. But it depends. Tom says, I got a good comfort movie, anything from the 80s. Yeah, pretty much, huh? They all feel like that. You put on like Goonies and you're like, yeah, this is great. Oh, so Joel Davis gets what I said about the cinematography, how it was like... Yeah, so maybe... You know what's funny? You bring up an interesting point of view because a lot of people might not like the new movies, specifically because of the reason that it doesn't look like the ones they grew up with, which is kind of what happened with the prequels. So I get some of that flack, but it's just so excessive because of everybody online wants to be somebody talking about something, and it just got like overwhelming how many people were just saying the same thing over and over again. I was like, yeah, I get it. You don't like it. It's okay. Like, you don't have to convince me. I believe you don't like it. So it's just funny because, like, I remember hearing a lot of similar things, and a lot of people are still like, it wasn't that bad when the prequels came out, but I'm like, my friend, it was. It was that bad. So, I don't know. When it's Christmas, it's Die Hard time. Yeah, that's a good comfort movie too, huh? I like Bruce Willis. Anybody like the movie Looper? Who's seen Looper in here? I think Looper's like one of the best movies in, like, before I was like a super fan of Rian Johnson. But I mean I knew who he was because of Breaking Bad and all that stuff. But Looper, man. Looper's crazy. Hey, what's up, Skinny D? Skinny D. When is Thick D gonna show up to the chat? Yeah, nice. A lot of Looper fans. Except for JW. Yeah, to me, Looper was one of the coolest time travel movies. They're all not always perfect. Because of paradoxes. So that's why most of the time I prefer chronological time travel movies, if that is even a phrase that is possible. And an example of that would be Time Crimes, which is, I think it's a Spanish movie, so you'd have to watch subtitles. But Looper, the way that the like visual effects worked in Looper blew me away, and I just thought the story was really cool. Yeah, this song's a bit loud. This one has like so much bass. Let me lower that a bit. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, good looks. Thanks, Sunny All Day. I like that name. Oh, Joseph, you haven't heard of Looper. I highly suggest it. I highly suggest it. I highly suggest it. Oh my god. I wish I could go back and... There's so many movies I wish I could go back and re-experience. All the Star Wars movies, I want to erase them from my brain, but then I probably have to quit the channel because there's no way I'd be able to make any more videos because I would be starting fresh. But I wish I could experience all the Star Wars again, or at least the sequel trilogy right now. Maybe Empire. But that, I would love to experience Interstellar again. And what else? You know, today I want to re-experience Tenet, because Tenet is blowing me away. I can't stop watching scenes. I can't stop reversing scenes. What an interesting movie. I hope you guys all watch it. It's really hard to understand. Really hard to understand. And that's on purpose. And it's also part of its narrative, which is very meta. But you need to watch Tenet. And then when you don't understand it and then get it at the end, watch it again. Trust me, you need to watch it twice. Yeah, looks like there's a lot of fans in here of some good stuff. When will I play the ceremony theme from A New Hope? I don't know. I don't think I can. Oh, I'm gonna butcher your name, Nishal. YouTube never notifies you. Bummer. Check to see if you have notifications on, because I've been noticing, I mean, somehow I'm still getting views on some videos, but like, it says like 3% of my subs have notifications turned on out of like 30,000. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know how to, like, I don't want to like ask people to turn notifications on, but maybe I should. Who knows? Maybe I should ask people to do that. So yeah, if you guys don't have notifications turned on, please do. That actually, for some stupid reason, I think that factors into the algorithm now. And the algorithm, or YouTube itself, actually does like it doesn't unsubscribe, but it turns off notifications to like test things out sometimes to see how people react to like new YouTube experiences. It's a pain in the butt. I hate it. But it doesn't matter. That's not why I make this stuff. If that's what I was doing, then I wouldn't even make a video. Oh, interesting. Well, thanks for letting me know about that. Yeah, it's been a problem. Um, Brett Burns asks, "What's the word on Tenet's complaint? The sound complaints with Tenet, they are accurate. It is a pain in the butt. The problem is, as a sound guy myself, it's too bassy. And you loved Inception. Are they similar? Here's how I will frame. Here's how I will frame this movie. It's almost like Nolan has now amalgamated all of his ideas on time into one movie without it being convoluted. Pieces that remind you of The Dark Knight. There are pieces that remind you of Inception. There are things that remind you of Memento, and I'm not even being kidding. I'm like not kidding at all. There is a little bit that might remind you of Insomnia, maybe. So, like, it's like the most Nolan film I've ever seen, which is crazy. And yeah, there's even a bit of Interstellar stuff going on in there, but not in the way I think maybe you might perceive what I'm saying to mean. There's no like space gods. So, but yes, there are things that are very much so like you're gonna be like, yeah, this kicks ass. It's just like Inception if you loved it, like especially like fights. Like, I mean, you probably saw the commercial for it with the inverted fight. Those sequences are unbelievable. Like, and they filmed that in camera, and some of those sequences, the actors learned how to, in forward normal time, look like they were backwards fighting, which is incredible. In the music in Tenet, 10/10. Same guy from The Mandalorian. Amazing score. So White Wolf asks, what did you think of the editing in Chapter 14? There were some strange cuts, kind of confused me in the moment. Some of the action sequences and some weren't. Yeah, I'm trying to think. You know, I think the weirdest part for me, editing wise, was Mando's attempts to get Grogu. They did it one too many times for me, where like the eagerness to save the child kind of lost its weight because now it felt like a joke. So in that sense, I was like, okay, that was too much. I didn't notice any pacing issues myself. The only episode I feel like I noticed pacing issues with this season, at least for me, for how, like, I'm a musician, so I might like feel things out totally differently than everybody else. But to me, it was episode 2, The Passenger. Just felt like, I don't know, it felt stagnant, and then punch you in the face fast for like 3 to 4 minutes, and then stagnant again. Even though there was editing and stuff, I don't know. That's the only one I would say that seemed bizarre. Oh, nice. We got some Last Airbender and Legend of Korra fans in here. I love both of those shows. To different degrees. Let's not start a fight. I know that has reignited on YouTube. So, but yeah, I think my first experience of watching The Last Airbender was like spiritual as hell. I was like, oh man, I've ascended. Once you get to that last season and it all just pays off, I have to say, maybe one of the most satisfying, I think it might be the most satisfying show I've watched ever. That's saying a lot, and it's a kids show. I mean, I don't think the people making it thought of it that way, which is funny. They were just like, let's just make a good animated show. Let's get Dave Filoni to make blue triangles. So yeah, Legend of Korra was cool. I don't like the music at the end with the credits. That's the only thing that bugs me. I skip it every time. I don't like its intro. I didn't like the group kind of as much as the old guys, but I loved the story of Korra. And I actually really like season 2 of The Legend of Korra. No, Elliot, thanks so much for liking the Iroh video. That was one of my favorite things to work on. Brett Burns, nice. You like Memento? Man, maybe I'll watch Memento later. It's hard to tell if it's really clipping or not. Sometimes it's clipping for some people. Sometimes it's not for other people. Is it clipping for the whole chat? I don't see it clipping. Usually I get a little red alert. Who knows? We'll find out. It's been 53 minutes. Maybe my connection's becoming loose or something. Oh, you going back to sleep? I can't pronounce your name, but may the force be with you. And I hope you have a very good sleep. He's lying like a Sith. You guys are funny. Oh, Joel Davis says last satisfying ending of a show that you saw was in 2018 reboot of She-Ra. You know, I see a lot of talk about that on Twitter, and it makes me be like, all right, I should sit down and watch that. And that's why I ended up watching, is it Evangelion? Is that how you pronounce it? I watched that series, and at first I was like, I don't know. And then I stuck with it, and I was like, oh my god. What a show. That show was bananas. Like, I was like, oh, maybe my son could... Nope, my son can't watch this with me. This has gone to a dark place. So, what a show, though. I was watching that. Some other show where, like, this dude's hand was like an alien. I can't remember what it was called. But yeah. I'm one of those guys that, like, I really like movies. And that's why I do what I do. You know, I like a lot more than just Star Wars. Star Wars isn't the only things that I am obsessed with in regards to movies or like entertainment. But there are just some movies that have stuck with me. Maybe I'll make a video about that, like, you know, who knows? Maybe just like a non-Star Wars fun kind of video just for the subs, just to know what my favorite like 20 films are that like are really important to me. Parasite, that's the name. Yeah, I was watching a lot of Parasite on Netflix. That's the show I was talking about. Yo, Boba Fett's back. Yes, he is. Boba Fett's the man right now. So, who thinks that Boba Fett pretty much just channeled the soul of Chirrut Imwe when he fought the troopers? That was like, I didn't know I needed that like brutality. Because, you know, I've said on this channel a lot, like, you don't need to just cut off limbs and, like, you know, explode people and, like, be violent to be good Star Wars. But every now and then you do need it, I think, just for fun and for awesome factor. And man, like Mando's a badass. And this is a little bit concerning, but Mando hasn't been as badass as other people in some of these episodes. Like, Boba Fett outshined the badassness of the Mandalorian 4,000%. Or, I'm sorry, yeah, Boba Fett. And, but that, like, his brutality was so welcome to me. Like, so good. The way that he used the Gaddafi just to annihilate these troopers was unreal. I've always wanted to see what those things were like in action. And I also have a video about, like, what is this stick? So I'm curious about how many people out there on YouTube, like, don't have any idea what that weapon is. So wait, I'm seeing somebody talk about Grogu being eaten. I need to catch up. I don't know. Somebody might have to reinform me about the Grogu cannibalism. Brett Burns asks, if Boba knew Cobb had his armor, why didn't he just take it back? That's a good question. I have no idea. I kind of wonder if there's more to this Boba, this recanonized Boba backstory, which I'm just learning about myself. I didn't actually know there was ever a time where Boba Fett was a Mandalorian, because I thought that his whole thing with Lucas saying that, like, he stole the armor and he's officially not a Mandalorian in Lucas's mind, like, during the Clone Wars, etc. So now they're saying that, can't remember the guy's name right now, who said, like, the Fetts aren't Mandalorians, that, like, since they were part of the Civil War, maybe they, like, got shunned or something. Who knows? But, yeah. I think they're doing something where, like, Boba maybe just wants to sort of get to know the Mando. I don't know, in some way that I'm not describing in the right way. I think there's, like, the main objective, because there's also, like, why did he just decide to help him so quickly? I could rationalize that in 1,000 ways, but there's also the possibility that, like, he'd want something else out of the Mandalorian eventually. We don't know. Who knows? Yeah, Almec, that's his name. Yeah, using a Tusken Raider weapon is insane. And I'm really curious, like, we are going to find out what he went through, I think, eventually, in some medium. I still don't know if a show is the right thing. I feel like a show's too premature for there already being a Mandalorian show that we already know is going to have a season 3 and 4, I'm pretty sure. I think having 2 of those would be bizarre, like competing for one another. And then we would all be online being like, which one was better this week? Mandalorian or Boba Fett? Oh my god. You know what I mean? Like the next war online. But yeah. Oh yeah, Brett Burns brings up a good point. His lines say, fate sometimes saves the wicked. He had a lot of great lines in this. This ain't no spice dream. I'm so curious about what a spice dream is like, or if like that's a phrase to mean like I'm not having a PTSD hallucination from crawling out of a Sarlacc pit. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe she knows something about him that like he has like hallucinations, like if something's wrong with him. Maybe he took too much spice, so now like sometimes it comes out of his like nervous system accidentally. Sorry guys, I'm spicing out again. Who knows? That'd be sad, though. Okay, so Ready Player 3 says, if we go by the chain code, Jango fought in the Mandalorian Civil War. Yep, they said that in the episode. The only reference we have for that is a Legends comic where Jango fought against Death Watch. Interesting. I think I saw some pictures of that, too, where like he was getting carried away. In the same way like that Din Djarin got carried away by Death Watch, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. Maybe that's what I saw on Twitter earlier, like at like 9 a.m. this morning. Thomas says Gideon did something to the Mandalorian people. Maybe. I'm not sure what he would have done. He definitely destroyed their world, it seems, and their whole way of living on that planet. It'd be interesting to actually go to that planet. Like, why not? I really think it would be interesting. It's post-Empire. Like, let's go to the planet. Let's go to the glass planet. I'm gonna switch this song. I don't like this song. I should take it out of the playlist. There we go. There's something chill. And Ready Player 3 raises another good point. I saw this also being discussed. Almec is Death Watch, so he probably holds a grudge against Jango. Or Almec is the kind of guy who doesn't accept foundlings. I think it's kind of more that. Doesn't accept foundlings. I'm wondering like if like that's the thing. Like you have to be like a trueborn or something like that. not a mudblood. So, could be interesting. As I said, I think the Mandalorian's primary focus with Din is going to be defining what it means to be a Mandalorian. Kind of like what I thought the sequel trilogy was doing with what it means to be a Jedi, but at the end of the day, it just means the same thing that it means. Except, I don't know. Maybe it means something more, but I thought it did, and then it didn't. So. So here's my guess. So we have a question here that's interesting from Konstantinos Christofi. What a difficult thing to say, but a handsome name. When do you think we'll see the backstory of Bo and Gideon, of how he got the Dark Saber? Do you think it'll be this season or next season? I actually don't think it'll be any seasons. I think it'll be a book. Something along those lines. I think it's going to be something better served on that medium. Because The Mandalorian is like three things. It's like serving lore junkies, serving, like all of us, like people that love the history, that love, we're obsessed with Star Wars, so it has to have some stuff in it, and they are bringing back in some of the lore now from the EU. Sequel trilogy fans, obviously new fans, and they also want the original casual audience just to also be able to watch this stuff. So I feel like having that be fleshed out in the show would just confuse other people with like unnecessary information, because all like the general audience needs to know is like, oh, he has that thing. Like for now, there's something there's nothing that they really need to know about the Dark Saber yet, and all somebody has to say is like, that thing belongs to my people, to his face, and then the casual viewer goes, oh, okay. Joel Davis, I agree. So you talked about Bo-Katan like being the leader of the Mandalorians, but now it could be Din. That would be fascinating. I talked about that maybe last season in one of my streams for it. But I think that could also be a really cool way to play his character, or at least to like lead him up to something like that, to being a leader of something. Well, that makes sense, Konstantinos, because I'm about to go play guitar with a Greek guy who used to be my band, Steven. I'll give you his last name. His last name's Partalitis. Biggest nose ever. But actually, my nose is as big as his. I'm Italian. And also Panamanian. But we make fun of each other because of our noses. But yeah. A lot of Greeks around here. Oh, this song is so soothing. I think I like zoned out for a second. Yeah, I don't think Luke Skywalker will come in to this show. Maybe a name drop. But if he does come in, you know that I want Sebastian Stan. That's the way it is. That's the way I feel. Anything else is objectively wrong. Yeah, somebody brought up the force field around Grogu. I love baby Grogu meditating. I also thought that force field thing was just strange enough to elicit that like ethereal Star Wars vibe. We were like, oh, this is weird. But also very like Avatar. But yeah, there was a lot of funny moments in this. Like him trying to get through it the first two times is funny. The third time I was like, all right, stop. But I also loved in the beginning when it's just like Din and Grogu, and he's like, Grogu, and he just keeps saying his name because it's like funny to him. So Ariel Rabibil? Is that how? I don't know. That's how I say that. Hopefully that's how I say it, because it sounded good to say. Do you think we will find Yoda's home planet this season? I do not think. I don't think that's going to happen. If it does happen, it's not going to happen for a while. I kind of want that to remain a mystery. Maybe. I don't know. I keep saying things and then I see them and I'm like, oh, that actually wasn't too bad. So it all depends on how it's executed, I guess, if they go that route. I do want to see some other Yoda species things. So I think that'd be cool. Elliot White says Sebastian Stan is so tall. It would be funny for Luke not to be short. Yeah, they could fake it though. I mean, look what they did with Lord of the Rings. You know, anything is possible because those movies exist. Anything is possible because, say what you want about the Rise of Skywalker story, anything is possible because that movie exists because Carrie Fisher is in it. And like, then there's a flashback scene, which looks a little funky, but it still looks pretty goddamn good. So, anything is possible. Or they'll just cut off his legs. I mean, that's also a thing that people do when they need actors to be shorter. You also get paid more when they cut off your legs. And it's, I'd do it. I'm just kidding. I'm going to get demonetized now. The Imagineer's Apprentice raises a interesting question. Did anyone ever expect the Mandalorian to make Tusken Raiders likable? Did not think that was ever going to be a thing that would happen, and I have to admit, I love that it did. I think Tusken Raiders are now more interesting to me. I think originally I just thought they were like these interesting natives of Tatooine, or as Django says, Tatooine. Or I don't know, he says it in a weird way. But now that we've seen them like in 2 seasons, I'm like, yeah. What if we got like just a Star Wars story about Tusken Raiders, like a novel or something? That'd be cool. Maybe there is one out there. I don't know. So Elliot White says, "Do you think Grogu's like just as like baby sounds or species language?" No, I don't. I think that like his brain is able to learn what it can, I guess, right now, but he seems to be like 2.5 years old, kinda. I feel like he's like 2.5 in like if we were to relate him to humans. So I think he's just like basic sound emoting, like if he's happy, he's like, "Woo!" If he's sad, he's like, "Ah." Just simple stuff. I feel like also maybe the showrunners haven't figured out, like, if he's gonna talk, how are we gonna make this look okay, Yeah, people years. That's what I call them. In people years. In revolutions around the Earth's sun years. Oh, did they wait in the so Nishal, they talk about, so you're talking about the first from a certain point of view book or the second one? I'm just reading the second one, but if whatever has Tusken Raider information in it, I will read. I did read the first one, but I might have just forgotten. So, it happens. Two and a half in Yoda years. I feel like if he was 2.5 in Yoda years, he'd be the size of my thumb. He'd just be like this little tiny, like, cluster of cells being like, ah! I don't know. Luke Skywalker says, I would love to see Bogano in The Mandalorian. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that kind of stuff, like Jedi Fallen Order crossover. I did think about Jedi Fallen Order when we had the Siege. I think that's the episode with the scout troopers. But I think that'd be great. I think some of the most interesting stuff visually happened in like Jedi Fallen Order from the past 5 years. Like the Rise of Skywalker oddly had some of the most coolest like visuals ever too with Exegol, like those gigantic statues. But I loved the temple on that planet. Like it's just so weird. And I like that they're like this like ancient race of Force users that aren't Jedi. That I'm pretty positive that whole thing was supposed to tie into Duel of the Fates because those beings, I can't remember their name right now, they look just like the evil Sith Lord that taught Plagueis in Duel of the Fates. So I don't know. I will say though, those animals on that planet are scary as hell. The Zepho, that's her name. Zepho. The name Zepho makes me, it reminds me of his Dark Materials, that trilogy. Makes me think of that for some reason, just like the name. Tor Valum, yes, that is the name of the Sith guy from Duel of the Fates. You know, I've never really, the Star Wars Galaxy game, I've never played that. I don't do much like phone game stuff unless it's like chess. I like chess. I'm okay. I got like a 1200 score, 1300 or so, or whatever the heck. It's like average mid-level man who can win like a couple of times. So Joel Davis asks, think they'll recycle anything from Duel of the Fates into other projects? Man, I hope so. I've read that script twice, I think now. I've seen the concept art. I have it all in a folder. There is so much cool stuff about Duel of the Fates. Besides the whole, your name is Solana, in like the whole parent thing. Those are the only things I dislike. I don't like the whole Kylo telling her last name. It's a stupid, pointless line. Or the parent killing. Now, everything else is fine to me. Even the Poe romance with Rey, I don't care. There's nothing that isn't as like, it's just as weird, I guess, if you want, as them all of a sudden all being best friends and going on this friendly journey for the one last time. You know, they weren't friends, and then it makes more sense for him to be curious, and all of a sudden, yeah, who knows? Whatever. So, we'll see. But I think they need to mine some of that stuff. At least, like, some cool beats for Coruscant and those, like, weird beasts and all that kind of stuff. That was cool. He had some weird, dark ideas. I argue that Duel of the Fates could have been the most dark Star Wars film ever made. Maybe. But then again, the Rise of Skywalker's art book makes The Rise of Skywalker look like the darkest Star Wars movie ever made, and it's not. Yeah, somebody brought up Kashyyyk in the chat. Yeah, Brett Burns, yeah. It would be cool to see some of that in live action too. Imagine. That'd be nuts. They could definitely pull that off in the volume. They just need a volume that's like a football field, right? Yeah, White Wolf brings up the point that they tend to reuse a lot of concept art. Yeah. I mean, pretty much that's what seems to happen a lot in these shows. Like if it's not used somewhere, then it's used here. Like that, like Admiral or Constable Zuvio, like his species, at least at the very least, and those costumes showing up in The Mandalorian. You know, they're like doing stuff like that, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it's like free. It's free intellectual, or it's free creative, I guess, if you will, right? They all have it there. Lucasfilm owns it. And it's the same people that did concept art for everything else, right? Pretty much. So why not? Joseph asks, have you seen the movie Onward? I have. Thought it was decent. Not the best Pixar film. I think I've seen almost every Pixar movie. No, Brett Burns, R2 comes back in Duel of the Fates. He does get like hurt, but he still survives. I think my biggest thing, since we're kind of on sequel talk here a little bit, the biggest thing about the sequel trilogy and its ending is, I think regardless of, even if we got like a super well paced, brilliant capper, or at least one that I thought was one, there would still be people that would say it was shit, no matter what. And there are people that say that The Rise of Skywalker is a masterpiece. That exists. So who knows? Like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where, like, the way I look at it, I personally feel like what's the word? I feel like no closure with the trilogy. I think that's the word I'm looking for. I feel like it hasn't ended yet properly, so like I have like no closure with what happened. Just kind of happened, so it's funny. But yeah, like this is definitely, it's funny, like my favorite sequel trilogy movie is TLJ. People say that 99% of people hate it, and I'm like, well, I don't care. Other people it's The Force Awakens, and some other people it's Tross. For some people they like them all the same. It's interesting. So yeah, Joel Davis brings up a good point. I think episode 9 was always going to have a chip on his shoulder with the Carrie. Yeah, with the Carrie thing. It was gonna be tough, regardless. Oh man, I think I need a nap. Oh my god, yawning on a live stream. That's illegal. Yeah, some people do call it a masterpiece. I mean, I call TLJ pretty much a masterpiece, but people make videos about me calling it that so they can make money. It's funny. Well, guys, it's been about... Wow, we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes. I had no idea. I think it is time for me to go do some dad stuff. Also, I've been working on another short film, doing audio. We're both tackling audio today. We've been doing it like madmen with cinematic captures. So there is a short coming out hopefully tomorrow, I think. So I'm going to be working on that, doing some dad stuff for the rest of the day. Probably watching Tenet in the background again. And yeah, waiting for next week's episode. We'll be doing the same thing. Just one stream next weekend. Because I will be going live, or no, I'll be doing a podcast with another group that hit me up on Twitter, and yeah, so I'll be a little bit busy next weekend again, but definitely a review and another live stream, and these have been fun. I love that we just get to hang out and like talk about whatever. It's pretty cool, and thanks so much everybody for hanging out for like this hour and 20 minutes. I hope it was relaxing, or at least got rid of some of your COVID boredom, if that's currently a thing. So, as always, may the Force be with you, and the AT-AT is signing off.